Welcome to all of you. I am continuing the previous lecture, that is Parliament of India. Okay students, I hope you are enjoying this lecture. A special announcement for you that after completing Parliament, or it may possible that Parliament chapter will take 3 to 4 classes. So I will try my best that in upcoming class, that is on Monday, I will take a question answers practice, PT question answer practice from the chapter that I have initiated from the Preamble of India before the chapter of Parliament. I will try my best on Monday, but if not possible, then I will try after the lecture ending on Parliament. Okay. So let's start with our previous topic, that is Parliament of India. So please move to the next slide and we will see that it is Parliament. And yesterday I have told you little bit an overview about how our Parliament has derived its legitimacy from the British model, that is Westminster model. So now I am going to another slide that will tell some special details about the parliamentary functions of India. See, in this lecture I will tell you about duration of Rajya Sabha, duration of Lok Sabha, some qualifications and some disqualifications on which any MP can be disqualified. These are the 4 main things which I will cover today. And what are the sessions in Parliament, like budget session, winter session, monsoon session, it will covered in another classes. Okay, so let's start. See, duration of Rajya Sabha. Duration of Rajya Sabha is not similar like Lok Sabha. Duration of Rajya Sabha is different from Lok Sabha. So what is the speciality in the duration of Rajya Sabha? First, understand it. Okay, let's be influent towards our topic. So let's see. See, the duration of Rajya Sabha is for 6 years. A special thing about Rajya Sabha that it is a permanent house. It is an permanent house. Permanent house means what? Is its building be not be broken or something what? No, permanent means the permanent house as called as Rajya Sabha. It means that Rajya Sabha will never be dissolved. As like Lok Sabha, on each and every 5 years, whenever general elections held in our country like 2014, 2019 and after election of 2014, on each and every 5 years, our house of Lok Sabha is dissolved and a new government formed. Either the party of same government or another party form the government. That is another matter. But after 5 years, the Lok Sabha is dissolved. Okay, fine. If certain special circumstances arise, only when it will be dissolved, Lok Sabha will be dissolved before 5 years. But generally, Lok Sabha will be dissolved after each and every 5 years. But unlike Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha never dissolved. It is a permanent house. Its term is 6 years. Its term is 6 years means any member who is a member of Parliament of Rajya Sabha. Listen my words, each and every words very carefully. Otherwise, you will be get confused. Okay, any members which is Parliament members, that is member of Parliament of Rajya Sabha, his terms will be of 6 years. And terms of Lok Sabha member will be, I hope all of you can easily guess, that is 5 years, because on each every 5 years Lok Sabha gets dissolved. Fine. So unlike Lok Sabha, there is one extra year for membership of Parliament for member of Parliament of Rajya Sabha. So it is of 6 years. Okay, but see what happened. I will tell something special about it. If you know about it, then revise it. Otherwise, if you don't know about it, then please focus on it. Okay, let's see. See students, it is of 6 years. First thing is that it is of 6-year terms. Second thing is that after every second year, it means, just understand that suppose it is 2000, suppose what means it is 2021. So let's see, suppose it is January 2021. Okay, so in January 2023, one third member of Rajya Sabha will complete his term. Okay, the membership of Rajya Sabha arranged in such a way that on each and every second year, one third member of Rajya Sabha will be complete his terms. Okay, will complete his terms. Fine. That is the process. So what is the seat now vacant? Now since one third seats has been vacant after each and every second year, so on the beginning of every third year, now that vacant seat, that is one third membership of Rajya Sabha will be fulfilled on the beginning of third year. Fine. That is the process. And since I have told you that 238 members of Rajya Sabha that is elected from states and union territories, out of 250 members, 238 members elected from states and union territories together, and the remaining 12 members is being nominated, not elected or appointed, that is nominated. 12 members nominated by President of India on the aid and advice of councils of ministers chaired by prime ministers. So those 12 members will be also be followed in the same process. Okay, out of 12 members, one third members, that is 4 members, will be completed his terms on every second year, arranged in such a way that on every second year one third member will complete his terms, complete his 6-year terms. That is the arrangement. Okay, so on the beginning of every third year, in the same way like elected members of Rajya Sabha, the nominated members of Rajya Sabha too elected on the beginning of every third year. Okay, so one third members of nominated portion will be nominated by President of India for the membership of Rajya Sabha on the beginning of every third year, because just like elected members of Parliament of Rajya Sabha complete his terms on every second years. Okay, on every second years one third member complete his terms for his 6-year terms completed. Please do not confuse that only in 2 years how any members will complete his 6 years. Okay, these members who has completed his 6-year terms, only those members will be removed from the membership of Rajya Sabha in 2 years. Okay, so if you will calculate and sit and calculate, then you will easily get it. Okay, so it is not necessary that how the calculation is being fitted. Okay, it is an easy one, but I am left on you that you should do it, otherwise you can ask me. Okay, and if you get confused I will tell you, but please don't go deep inside that portion. Only remember that on every second year one third members of Rajya Sabha either elected or nominated will complete his 6-year terms and they will be dismissed from the office of membership of Rajya Sabha, and the beginning of on the third year that vacant seats of one third memberships either that is elected or nominated, that will be fulfilled on those 1/3 vacant seats. I hope this is clear to all of you. So this is the second part. Okay, this is the second thing about duration of Rajya Sabha. Fine. So these are the two important things which is related with duration of Rajya Sabha. Okay, it is not like that duration of Rajya Sabha covers only these aspects, but there is much more aspects about duration of Rajya Sabha that I will cover slowly. Okay, in the upcoming slides and in the upcoming lectures you will know about the sessions of Rajya Sabha. Okay, the bills pending in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. So on those sessions you will get point by point cleared. If I will try to tell you the whole thing about Rajya Sabha in only in this section, then it is not possible for you to memorize the whole things. Okay, so I am just trying to cover up the whole things in such a way that it will not look so bulky for any of you. Fine. So I am lifting here and I will cover, since these are the two most important ones to know about the duration of Rajya Sabha, since it is the most important one, that is why I will cover in separate sessions another points. Okay, so I am moving to the next slide, that will be duration of Lok Sabha. See, I have earlier told you that duration of Lok Sabha doesn't match totally with duration of Rajya Sabha, because the duration of Lok Sabha is only for 5 years. See, 5 years. Understand it? Little bit extra from Rajya Sabha, just understand it. See, it is not a permanent house, not a permanent house. Okay, it is not a permanent house because it will be dissolved on each and every 5 years. Second thing is that its membership will be automatically for only for 5 years. It's not like Rajya Sabha for 6 years, it will be only for 5 years membership. Okay, sometime you may ask that the term of Rajya Sabha is how much? So we will apply here that 6 years, not like that unlimited, because that is a permanent house. Not, term is only for 6 years. Okay, so be aware about those points. Second is that it is only for 5, but after 5 years, suppose after 5 years, is it possible to increase the duration of Lok Sabha or not? Yes, it is possible. If there is a situation of emergency situation, suppose India is going with a war kind of situation with any country, okay, or any financial emergency or something exceptional situation that is similar to emergency. So if emergency is going on in our nation, then it can be extended to more than 5 years. It will be extended for another 1 year. It can be extended for another 1 year. Okay, after 1 year, after extension of 1 year, if the situation is continuing of emergency, if after 1 year, after completion of 5 years terms, if there is a situation of emergency going on in our nation, then it is possible that 1 year extra will be given for Lok Sabha. But what will happen if the emergency situation will going on after this total 6 years? Again 1 year can be extended. So there is no limitation. Okay, but only when there is a situation of emergency. Okay, otherwise all the governments will continue forever. Fine. What happened that after the situation of emergency is being not present after 6 or 7 years or 8 years or 9 years whatsoever, so on the about the situation. If the situation of emergency is not present after 6 or 7 years, then is it possible to increase the terms of Lok Sabha? Not at all. You can only increase for only 6 months. If the situation of emergency is not present after the extension of 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, then within 6 months, general election must be held in our nation for the selection of Prime Minister, new Prime Minister. Fine. I hope you are getting it. But is it possible that the term of Lok Sabha will less than 5 years? Yes, it is possible. Okay, it is possible. How? Sin, think. If suppose in India there is 272 plus seats necessary to form the government, and if there is a government which is running on suppose 280 seats, okay, 280 seats continuing the government, and if few MPs drawn their support from the ruling party, the ruling government, and this 272 plus marks now diminished to 270, or either it is less or it may be 272 only, because it is 273, 272 plus means it is 273 minimum needed to form the government in India. So at that time, since the ruling party now is not in majority, okay, because few MPs, or it may possible that if there is a government, coalition government, then if any party draw the support from that government, then that party doesn't have majority to form the government, and at that situation what happens that opposition parties brought no confidence motion in Lok Sabha, no confidence motion. So what is no confidence motion? It is a separate matter, but since it is necessary here to tell you, that is why I am telling you that no confidence motion means whenever opposition party will feel that and see that the ruling government does not have same kind of majority as earlier at that time, which are the time of forming the government, then opposition party can bring no confidence motion in Lok Sabha. And after initiating low confidence motion in Lok Sabha, after few procedures, voting has been done on floor test, that is called floor test, and in that floor test, if the ruling party fails to prove the majority, then the government has to resign. Okay, the government has to resign. In that scene, it will be dissolved before 5 years. It may be within 1 month, 2 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, within 1 day 2. Okay, so it is 5 years too. You can see an example in the early BJP government, NDA government led by our Honorable Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. You can see the example there. Okay, fine. Because of only few MPs, the government of India has fallen back. Okay, doesn't able to prove the majority, doesn't able to pass the floor test. Okay, fine. So in that situation, it is possible that even Lok Sabha can dissolve before 5 years, and in emergency situation, Lok Sabha extension may be extended for 1 year. Again, if emergency situation continues, then again it will continue after for 1 year, again, so on, if emergency situation continues. But if emergency situation now finished, then after the extension period, within 6 months, general election must be held in the country, okay, to form a new government, to form a new Prime Minister. Okay, so I hope this is clear to all of you. Duration of Lok Sabha. Fine. There is much more about duration of Lok Sabha, but I will cover in separate sessions. Okay, because Parliament is such a huge chapter. When I will finish the whole Parliament chapter after 3 to 4 lectures, then you will get all those points which I am lefting here. Okay, so I hope these both points are clear to all of you. 5 years and more than or less than 5 years provision. Okay, fine. So I am moving to the next slide, and here it is about qualifications. Okay. See, qualifications for both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. What are the qualifications by which any Indian citizen can become member of Parliament of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha? What are those qualifications? Eligibility criteria. So the first eligibility criteria is number 1, he or she should be an citizen of India, Indian citizen. If you are an Indian citizen, only when you can contest the election of member of parliament, either that is Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. If you are not an Indian citizen, you can't contest the election of member of parliament, either that is Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha too. Qualifications and disqualifications are both for Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. I am not telling separate here because both are almost similar. Okay, it's more than 95% it is similar. Second thing is that the contestant who is contesting the election, general election or the election of Rajya Sabha, okay, then that contestant have to take oath of affirmation before which one? Before the representatives of Election Commission of India. Suppose I am giving an example. Suppose like our Prime Minister has contested the election from Varanasi in the general election of 2019. Fine. So before contesting the election, okay, after the announcement of contesting the election from Varanasi, just after that, after the nomination, okay, after the nomination part, that contestant, that is our Prime Minister, I am taking an individual example here that to make understandable to all of you. So after nomination, that contestant which has decided to contest from this constituency, that is Varanasi, will take oath, that is called oath of affirmation. So he will take oath of affirmation before the person which is the representatives of Election Commission of India. So he will take the oath of affirmation before in front of the representatives of Election Commission of India. Fine. So there are two types which followed the oath of affirmation. The first one is that to bear true faith to the Constitution of India, that I will, if this person has decided to contest election from Varanasi constituency, then just after nomination, during the part of nomination 2, he will take oath of affirmation, okay, in front of representatives of Election Commission of India, and said that during that oath of affirmation, this contestant will say that I will bear my true faith towards the Constitution of India. Okay, I have my full faith in the Constitution of India and I will bear that faith. Okay, this is number 1. Second is, this contestant will also say that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India. What is sovereignty and integrity? I have told you during the first lecture of our classes, that is about preamble of the Constitution of India. Okay, during preamble I have told you the whole thing, sovereignty, integrity, fraternity, I have told you the whole things in detail view. So if you are confusing sovereignty and integrity, then you can look my first class, or it may possible that it will be second class. I hope it is only in first class. in the one class I have cleared that. So you can look that class. Okay, fine. So he will first say that I will bear the true faith towards the Constitution of India. I have fully faith in the Constitution of India and I will work according to the Constitution of India. Okay. The second thing, this contestant will take the affirmation that I will uphold the sovereignty and integrity of India. Fine. So I am moving to the next slide. If any other qualifications remaining, I hope it is remaining. So I am moving to the next slide. Okay. Next is that what are those eligibility criteria qualifications to become member of parliament of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. There is age barrier. Okay, below that age barrier you can't the contest of election of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So it is 30 years, minimum 30 years age should be required to contest the election of Rajya Sabha and minimum 25 years age required to contest the election of Lok Sabha. Okay, so 5 years difference between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. For Lok Sabha it is less, for Rajya Sabha it is 5 years more. So it is 30 years, minimum 30 years age required for any contestant either that is elected or for nominated too. Okay, you may get confused about nominated members and UPSC will never ask this question that minimum 30 years age required for the nominated members of Rajya Sabha to be nominated in Rajya Sabha. UPSC have never asked, but you have to attentive towards this point. Okay, so it is 30 years for Rajya Sabha membership and 25 years for Lok Sabha membership. So I hope this is clear to all of you. So I am moving to the next slide and it will detail something special. Okay, that is disqualifications. That is disqualifications. Till now I have told you about duration of Lok Sabha, few points of duration of Lok Sabha, few points of duration of Rajya Sabha, and the qualifications required for the contest the election of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. You can see that those qualifications are almost similar for both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Only one exceptional case that there it is minimum 30 years age required to contest the election of Rajya Sabha and minimum 25 years age required to contest the election of Lok Sabha. So till now I hope all the points about duration of Lok Sabha and duration of Rajya Sabha, okay, and the qualifications, eligibility criteria for the contesting of election of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha is clear to all of you. Is it clear? I hope so, because those are not very complex. Okay, only little bit complex at that part, that is more than 5 years, less than 5 years, but I have tried my best to resolve all those points. If you are getting confusion any of the points, you are regularly asking your doubts to our teams, so you can ask your doubts. Okay, now I will tell you about disqualifications. Fine. So see here, first one is that anyone who wants to contest the election, but before that remember the fact that this disqualifications will be same for Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha membership too. As like qualifications, these disqualifications will be similar for the membership of, for the contesting of elections of which one, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, not contesting, but disqualifications will happen only when you are being a member of parliament, or whenever you are going for the nomination for contesting the election, you may be disqualified, okay, to contest the election. Fine. Okay, so let's see about disqualification. The first one is that holding office of profit even at central level or at a state level. If any contestant holding office of profit even at central level office of profit or a state level office of profit, then that contestant is not eligible to contest the election of either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. So what is office of profit? I will take a separate session because it is such a necessary session and necessary point that it will take almost 1 hour to know fully details about what is office of profit. Okay, what are the exceptions in office of profit, what are the office of profit termed at a state level and at the central level. Okay, office of profit doesn't include ministers, know this fact only till now. Okay, office of profit doesn't include ministers. If any minister which is ministry in any ministry right now, and in that case that will be not termed as office of profit, that minister can contest the election again and become member of parliament and even become again ministry too. Fine. So if anyone holding office of profit, then that contestant not eligible to contest the election of member of parliament for both Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Second is unsound mind declared by court. Unsound mind declared by court, it means if during any convictions, offences or during any cases, hearings, if court feels that this person that is A is not behaving properly and according to society and according to Constitution of India, and it is unsoundful mind person. Okay, unsoundful mind person means this person is not suitable for and to being a representatives of the people of India. So in that case, if courts find that this person is an unsoundful mind quality, then that contestant is not eligible to contest the election of member of parliament, that is for Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha too. Whenever I will say that member of parliament, then you will understand for both members of Lok Sabha and members of Rajya Sabha, because member of parliament MP is for both, termed as both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha members also termed as member of parliament and Lok Sabha members also termed as member of parliament. Okay. The next point is that undischarged insolvent. Undischarged insolvent means if any person takes loan from financial institutions, bankings, non-banking financial institution, or anyone takes loan from any proper authority and do not pay that loan, do not repay that loan, and that person is termed as insolvent person. If anyone will not repay his loan, that person will automatically turned as insolvent person. Okay. So if that person has been discharged from that loan, that person said that proper reason that why I have not paid my loan, and if the authority which is deciding these situations will think that yes, the situation is right and the person is saying that is right, so if that person is discharged from that loan repayment or that allegation, then that contestant is eligible. But if that person is not discharged, that is undischarged insolvent, if any person is undischarged solvent, then that person will not be able to contest the election of membership of parliament. Fine. I hope this is clear to all of you. The fourth point is not an Indian citizen. It is automatically during the qualifications. I have told you in the first point, that is should be an Indian citizens. Only those persons can contest the election of member of parliament who is an Indian citizen, but those persons who are not an Indian citizens cannot contest the election of member of parliament. Member of parliament means for both members of Lok Sabha and members of Rajya Sabha. So I hope these all 4 points are clear to all of you. So I am moving to the next slide. Okay, disqualification is little bit large, so it will take few minutes to cover it. Okay, only disqualifications on the basis of anti-defection law I will cover in upcoming sessions. Okay, only that person that person I will leave. Okay. So the next, that is fifth one. The fifth disqualifications is guilty of certain election offences. Guilty of certain election offences means if during the conducting of election, okay, during the conducting of election in our nation, if any contestant found the guilty of certain election offences, that is, there are so many rules and regulations, code of conduct held by Election Commission of India. There are so many code of conduct that you can't inaugurate any kind of new project, you can't distribute money, you can't do anything that is mentioned and prohibited under the rules and regulations of Election Commissions of India. So if any contestant break that rules and regulations and found guilty of that offences, then that contestant will not be able to contest the election. Okay, since those persons have nominated in the election campaigning and nominated before the representatives of Election Commission of India, since they are now conducting the election and the election is going on, suppose person A which has nominated from any constituency and contesting the election, and during the contesting of election, okay, if he has done, this person A has done certain offences and breaks the rules and regulations, breaks the code of conduct that is held by Election Commission of India, so now it is not possible that during the ongoing day of or ongoing date of election the name of this person will be removed. So after the election, this person, this contestant may be disqualified on this basis. It will be done by Election Commission of India. Here it will be done by Election Commission of India. But after, if any member of parliament, if any contestant becomes member of parliament after winning the election, and any contestant become the member of parliament, then in that situation there will be the role of president to disqualify that MP. After winning the election, now the role will be played by President of India. President of India will disqualify this member of parliament, but in the consultation with Election Commission of India. Okay, but in the consultation with Election Commission of India. But before the winning of the elections, from the initial period of nominations to the before the results, Election Commission can disqualify any contestant without consulting president. So see what is the difference here. After winning the election, there is the role of president, but in the consultation with Election Commission of India. But before the winning of election, the sole role, the only one role played by Election Commission of India, not by the president, in the basis of qualifications, in the process of qualifications. Or this point also mentions that guilty of certain election offences or corrupt practices in election. Corrupt practice means if this person A is distributing money in public, okay, in public distributing money and said that please vote for me, I am providing you money, okay, so that will be termed as corrupt practices. Corrupt practices. Okay, so on that basis, Election Commission of India may disqualify and should disqualify that contestant from contesting the election of member of parliament. Okay, if on the election day, on the date of election, suppose candidate A has reached on the polling booth, and distributing money at that location or in any location in that constituency or in maybe in other constituency, okay, to influence the results, to wish in the favor results, then even after the election will be finished on that day, Election Commission of India will investigate the matter and can disqualify that contestant. Okay, so I hope I am able to qualify and clarify all these points, all these 5 points till now. Earlier slide it was 4 points, now it is only 1 point. I hope these all 5 points are clear to all of you. So now I am moving to the next slide, and it will be also about disqualifications. Okay. I am telling you all the things in such an elaborating manner that you can even during the answer writing of mains questions you will not get confused at all. Okay. The next disqualification point is, that is sixth one, if imprisonment for 2 or more years. Imprisonment for 2 or more years. It means if this contestant A has done certain offences, certain crimes, this person A has done certain crimes, certain offences of any kind of offences, okay, and this person has been punished for, if this person has been punished for minimum 2 years jail imprisonment, minimum less than 2 years, that contestant, that person can contest the election of member of parliament. But if that person gets the punishment of minimum 2 years, minimum 2 years, 2 years is a point, minimum 2 years, less than 2 years, no, he can contest the election. But if minimum 2 years he get the punishment, or more than 2 years, if this person is getting the punishment, okay, of for imprisonment, for jail punishment, then this person is not able to contest the election of member of parliament. Okay, I hope this is clear to all of you. But see in the bracket portion that not in preventive detention scene. What is preventive detention? I have told you, I have already told you during articles 22 and okay, earlier articles. Fine, okay, it was article something around fundamental rights. During fundamental rights articles I have cleared this, what is detention, preventive detention. See again I am repeating, in India there are 2 types of detention. One is punitive detention, and other is preventive detention. So what is punitive detention and what is preventive detention? I am not telling here, okay, I am just giving an overview in 2 lines, because I have covered both these points in very well manner in previous lectures. Okay, so I am just giving an overview that after any person done any crimes, and after doing the crime, if that person is being punished and sent to jail, then that punishment is known as punitive detention. Detention means in jail, in imprisonment. That person goes in jail, that is called as imprisonment, and that is detention. Detention means in the custody of police authority. Okay, so after doing the crime, if anyone, generally after doing the crime anyone will be punished. Before doing the crime anyone will not get punished, but after doing the crime if anyone will be get punishment, then that punishment will known as punitive detention. And preventive detention is before doing the crime you are being arrested. This is little bit wonderful, not little bit, this is too much wonderful, but since it is present in Indian democracy system, so it is known as preventive detention. That police thought that a special task force thought that this person may do certain kinds of crimes, and or this person, because of this person's the speech of this persons or the behavior of this persons, the writing of this persons may, writing means writing any books, writing any articles, because of this person's activities, if the chances of misbehaving in society, the social structure of the society may damage, then a special task force may detention you. Okay, you will be in detention. So you are being detained before done the crime, that is preventive detention. So if anyone in preventive detention either it is for 1 day or more than 2 years, it is maybe 5 years, 1 years, 2 years, any years, there is no limitation here. Then if any person that is in preventive detention, then that person is eligible to contest the election of member of parliament. Okay. Only in punitive detention that person is not eligible to contest the election of member of parliament. That is also for minimum if that person is getting punishment for minimum 2 years imprisonment. I hope this point is clear to all of you. So I am moving to the next slide. Okay. I have already told you that disqualification part is little bit vast. Okay. So don't bold and enjoy the lecture. Okay. Let's see, election expenses. During the election campaigning, okay, whenever Election Commission of India decides that on this dates, from this dates, the election will be held in India, I am talking about general elections because since I am here talking about parliamentary system. So at the union level, not at the state level. So before the date of election, before that time, okay, 1 month or 2 months, or it may be determined by Election Commission of India, on the date from which Election Commission of India, okay, tells about on which dates the election will be held, on the same date the code of conduct has been ruling in all over the country. Okay. So during the election campaigning, there is a limitation for each contestant to expense money. Any contestant can't expense more than that limit money, if that contestant expenses more than that limitation of money, then Election Commission of India may disqualify and can disqualify and should disqualify those contestants, okay, those contestants to contest the election of member of parliament. Fine. Okay. If why it is done? Because if any contestant wants to influence the election, then he can expense more and more money and try to favor more and more persons in his favor or her favor. Okay. That is why this limitation has been put down. Okay. So on this basis, even any contestant can be disqualified by Election Commission of India. Second is interest in government contracts, works or services. If after or before the results of election, if Election Commission of India feels that this contestant has more and more interesting about the taking of government contracts, government projects, okay, to himself, to his relatives, okay, or to provide governmental jobs, services to his relatives or his own or anything to his known persons, then in that scene Election Commission of India can qualify that contestant. Okay. Even after, if any contestant win the election of member of parliament, and after winning the election, if that member of parliament is approached, that if the approach of after winning the election of that member, then after winning that will become member of parliament, then after winning the election, if the approach of this MP is to taking the government projects, contracts to his own companies, to his relatives, providing jobs, government jobs by illegal means, okay, by illegal services, then at that time president, because after winning the election there is a role of president, then president will disqualify, okay, this member of parliament, and this member of parliament will lose their seat. So president will disqualify after consultation with the Election Commission of India. I hope these both points are clear to all of you. So I am moving to the next slide. Okay. Next one is that it is a bigger line, but since it is necessary, that why my team has mentioned this bigger lines. So I will read first here, then I will tell you. First thing, he must not be a director. He means the person who wants to contest the election of member of parliament. He must not be a director or managing agent nor hold any office of profit in a corporation in which the government has at least 25% share. See, there are many public sector companies in India. Okay, there are many public sector companies in India like ONGC and many on. Okay, it is DRDO and so it was various. Okay, it is too much. There are so many public sector companies. Even in any company, if the share of government in that company is more than 25% or equal to 25%, even if it is equal to 25%, if the share of government of India is minimum 25% in any company of India, if share of government is minimum 25% or more than 25% or equal to 25% in any company of India, in any Indian company, and if any contestant is, any member is the director in that company, I am talking about before contesting of election. Okay, so if anyone is director or managing agent in that company, that is minimum 25% share of government of India, agent, managing agent or director or hold any office of profit in that company, okay, then this person will not be eligible to contest the election of member of parliament. If after winning the election, then that contestant will become member of parliament. Then after winning that election, the same rule will follow that if this MP will on as a director or managing agent or hold any office of profit in this company, that is share of Indian government is minimum 25% in any Indian company, then in that situation too, this member of parliament will be disqualified from the membership of member of parliament, and that disqualified will be done by President of India after consultation with the Election Commission of India. But before winning the election of member of parliament, if this situation arises, then at that time this contestant, since that contestant till now don't win the election of member of parliament because result has not come, then at that situation there is no role of president, only Election Commission of India sole alone can disqualify that contestant to contest the election of member of parliament. I hope this is clear to all of you. I hope so. So I am moving to the next slide. Okay. I hope I am able to clarify all the points about qualifications and disqualifications. The few are remaining and I will cover all those. See, next one is that dismissed from government services for corruption or disloyalty to the state. See, dismissed, if any person who has been dismissed from the government service, okay, like if you are an IS officers, IPS officers or IRS officers or any other officers that is government services, and you are dismissed because of any reason, you not resigned, not talking about resigned, if anyone not resigned, not retirement, only dismissed. Dismissed means dismissed by the authority in which under which you are working. If any authority which is government authority and you are doing a government services job and you are dismissed by the government of India or government of a state, then at that situation you can't contest the election of member of parliament. Okay, or for corruption, if you are doing some kinds of corruption in that government services and if you are found guilty, then you are not able to contest the election of member of parliament. Okay, or even you are disloyalty to the state, you are not loyal means you are not faithful to the nation, you are not faithful to the Indian nation, then if your working behavior is found that you are not faithful towards the Constitution of India, towards the integrity, sovereignty of India, you are just harming the sovereignty, integrity, fraternity of India, you are harming the brotherhood of India, and you are disloyal, you are unfaithful to the Indian state, then you will be disqualified to contest the election of a member of parliament. Next one is that offense of bribery. This is the same one like corruption. If you are suppose you are an IS officers and you are taking bribe in any matter and you are caught and you find guilty, then you are not able to contest the election of member of parliament. Okay, and promoting enmity between different groups. If your behavior and your activities, due to your activities, if you are the Indian citizens and due to your activities, if there is, due to that activities, if there is enmity between, enmity means harming the sense of brotherhood. Okay, it just as turned as enemy. Okay, if there are 2, 3, 4 groups and you are just a person due to which person's activities all are quarreling among themselves. So in that situation, if that person is found guilty, then that person will be disqualified on this basis to contest the election of member of parliament. So I am moving to the next slide. Okay, fine. See, next one is that social crime like practice of untouchability, dowry and sati. Since Article 17 clearly said that practice of untouchability is prohibited in our nation. So if you are not aware about that, just see the lectures of fundamental rights. Okay, you will get this point very too much easily. So if any person has done crimes, that crime is like untouchability, practice of untouchability, dowry, okay, taking money for marriage, taking money from the groom sides, not groom sides, from the bride sides. Okay, if any man is taking dowry from the bride sides, automatically men will take dowry from bride sides. This happened in our country. So if anyone is practicing untouchability, taking dowry and practicing even sati, that is not happening in our nation right now. Even that is prohibited too, but that is a traditional one. Okay, that is not present at anyhow in our country. Okay, so if these three things, the practice of these three things will be done by any persons, then that person is prohibited to contest the election of member of parliament. And after winning the election, if anyone is found the guilty of these things, then President of India can disqualify these MPs after consultation with Election Commission of India. I hope this point is clear to all of you. This is really an important point. Okay, because we can improve and develop our nation only when the society of our nation will be developed. Okay, so next slide please. Yeah, this is known to all of you. President decision is final in the opinion of Election Commission, and after winning the election, okay, the disqualification will be done by President of India. Fine. After winning the election, before winning the election, it is the sole duty of Election Commission of India, not President. But after winning the election, it is the President role to disqualify, and his decision will be final. Okay, fine. The decision of President will be final, and but in the consultation with Election Commission of India, and President will take the decision according to Act. There are so many acts. Under those acts, those are the provision of disqualifications. Okay, I have told you about those disqualifications points. Okay, so President decision is final. Nobody will go to the court. The decision is final. Fine, the decision is final. Okay, so I hope this is clear to all of you. So if any other disqualification slide remaining, please tell me. No students, it is over. So I hope it is a very nice session to all of you, and you are enjoying a lot more than previous lectures. So thank you students. We will continue this part tomorrow, or otherwise I will take question answer session, pre-take question answer session in next class, if that is possible. Otherwise this chapter will continue on Monday. So thank you so much student. Thank you.